Welcome everybody to the Kids Invent webinar. We're really happy to have you here. I'm Stephanie Couch, Executive Director of the Lemelson-MIT program. And the mission of our program is to inspire young people to pursue creative and inventive lives. And we do that primarily through two parts of our program. We have prize program for students at the collegiate level who've done amazing work. You can find that on our website. And then we also have a number of invention education programs where we work with teachers and students across the nation, across all grade levels. And you know, today's webinar is about a wonderful opportunity to get young people off the ground as inventors at very early ages. We know that this is really critical to give all students opportunities to learn to invent um, across all ages and all stages of development. And so we're bringing this to you with a number of partners because this one is just so easy. Anyone can give this learning opportunity to their students or the young people they work with. So the contest that we're talking about, Ideas for Ears, brought to us by Mediel, kicks off November 9th. And the applications are going to close on January 17th. We're doing this webinar early because we want to give you time to think about how you might be able to participate. The official announcement and the materials are going to go to everyone who's registered for this webinar. The application itself by the young people is a 200-word essay and a picture or a drawing or a video. It is not really too involved. And so again, we think this is just an excellent way to introduce young people to thinking as an inventor and to spark that creativity and inventiveness in a young person. We have a number of people who are going to present on this webinar. One, Avery Bennett, is a young inventor and was the global winner. So we're going to hear from him. And then the gentleman who actually was the inventor for the technologies in a number of the equipments in this company has provided us with a video. He could not be with us because we're on quite different time zones than Austria, where he now lives, even though he was grew up in California, was from California. And then we're going to hear from a really incredible woman I have the privilege to know, Shireen Hafiz, the founder of Deaf Kids Code. And we really wanted you to hear from her because it's important that young people think about inventing with those who have hearing loss, not for those who have hearing loss. And so we'll get some ideas from Shireen. And then, you know, as we think about this wonderful opportunity for the young people, it should be an introduction to inventing, not an end unto itself. So we hope they'll continue to do creative work. And one possibility that can happen locally is at the end of a school year, inventions can be shown off at an invention convention, which a number of states have. And so we'll have a brief intro to invention conventions and the link in our slides so you can follow up and learn more about what it takes to have an invention convention in your backyard. So with that, I think we'll go straight into Avery Bennett. So Avery, I turn the microphone over to you.
Hello, my name is Avery Bennett. I am a 14-year-old freshman at Walter Payton College Preparatory High School in Chicago, Illinois. In my free time, I enjoy running with my cross-country team and playing piano, guitar, and video games. I'm a fan of Marvel movies, especially Iron Man, because of how he looks at situations in a way where his thoughts go towards solving problems, but also preventing future problems. His way of thinking truly inspires me. I also have one older brother, Marshall, and two younger sisters, Dominique and Raquel. My youngest sister, Raquel, has two Medell cochlear implants. Raquel's Medell cochlear implants have been an amazing improvement to her life. I'm also an inventor. In the spring of 2018, I was one of the seven winners of the Ideas for Years competition. The grand prize was a trip to the headquarters of Medell in Austria. It was a huge honor to meet Jeffrey Ball and the Medell employees who made my sister's cochlear implants. During my visit to Austria, I talked with the other winners who were from all over the world, such as Brazil, New Zealand, England, Germany, and the United States. Inspired by my younger sister, Raquel, I created the idea of the CIBE, the cochlear implant battery extension. Raquel's Medell implants have been an amazing improvement to her life, inspiring me to create this idea. The idea was to move the battery to a more suitable position to make it look more fun, fashionable, and natural. I wanted to make the lives easier of my younger sister and others who also have cochlear implants. Participating in the Ideas for Years competition has inspired me to continue to invent and discover solutions to problems in the world around me. Very soon, the next Ideas for Years competition will be starting, and you too can be a winner. Since winning the Ideas for Years competition, I have come up with many other inventions. My advice to other aspiring inventors would be to look around, be inspired, and create inventions that make the world a better place. I'm still honored and amazed that my idea actually won me a trip to Austria. I'd never been to Europe before. It was an experience unlike any other. During my trip to Austria, I experienced snow-capped mountains, delicious food, lots of history, and a museum all about sound and hearing. I'm so thankful that Medell gave me the opportunity to come to Europe through the Ideas for Years competition.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Ball. I'm the CTO of Medell. I'm also the inventor of the Vibrant Sound Bridge, the Bone Bridge, and I've worked in hearing technology for the past a lot of years. Let's just say that. I've been deaf since a toddler. I lost my hearing due to a reaction to medication that I was given. And it's been really challenging growing up as a deaf person. And it's really a privilege now to be involved with the Ideas for Years. When we started the Ideas for Years concept many years ago, we thought it would be a simple concept, and now it's turned into a worldwide event, and it's been terrific to see all the kids involved. For me, as a deaf person growing up, I never had anyone, I didn't know of any other kids that were deaf, and that also were doing cool things. And so I think it's really great that we're sending out not just the message that there are deaf kids out there, but also the deaf kids out there that are doing cool things, and that is great. Not just for the participants, but also for the other kids that are going to hear about this event. And also, I think it's really important for the parents and the educators as well. When you grow up deaf, there's this stigma that, you know, if you're deaf, you're dumb, and that stigma has been tired. It's not as common as it is today, thank goodness. But the thing that's, when I was growing up, there were no alternatives for my hearing loss. We had hearing aids, and hearing aids they were big, they were unsightly. All they did was give you headaches. They didn't make it sound clear. Today we know it's not just amplification and treating hearing loss is not about making sounds louder. It's about making them clearer. The way that I got into inventing was one of my physicians, and he's still a physician today, I would go in every year and I'd say, hey, you know, what about those implants? Or when are you going to be able to help my hearing loss with those hearing implants? And he would always say, well, Jeff, next year. And after several years of this, I finally said, hey, well, maybe you need some help in the lab. And it turned out that they did need help in the lab. And so I got my first job. And I think all great inventors have a good mentor. And they inspired me to study the ears, understand how hearing works, and then make devices that could work better. Well, the reason I was motivated to invent something to treat hearing loss was, you know, what is it they say, desperate, you know, if you're desperate, that really, 1 part inspiration, 10 parts desperation, and I think that really went into hearing. We know now that looking back, when I was working in the lab, I was one of the few, if not the only researcher that was working full-time in a full-time, full-paid university position in a fully staffed lab where I was studying hearing implants full-time for middle ear implants. And so I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And of course, it takes a lot of work to invent. I get credit for inventing the sound bridge and for inventing the bone bridge. I don't get credit for all the hundreds of devices that I invented that didn't work. And that's the thing. You got to try lots of devices to figure out what doesn't work. So my approach to inventing is, well, you make something, it doesn't work, and I figure, well, that's one less thing. And then you're one step closer to getting to the right answer. You know, one of the things that's neat about the Ideas for Ears event is that it's turned out so much better than I thought it would. Originally, I went to Inge and said, hey Inge, I had this idea, we should have an invention contest for the local kids, and I was gonna put a little box in front of my house, and we were gonna have the local kids stuff their inventions in, and then at the end of the year, I was gonna open them up and see which ones were the best, and then we were gonna have like a pizza event or something. And now it's worldwide. We got hundreds and hundreds of entries, and it's turned out so much bigger than I ever, and better than I ever could have imagined, thanks to our wonderful people at MED-EL, and thanks to all the people who participated. So be sure to visit our website. You can see the number down here, I think. Or maybe it's up here. Or maybe it's over there.
Shireen, and then now we'll go to you. Please make sure to unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We sure can. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, hi, everybody. This is absolutely thrilling to be here, because everything that I do, my whole life's purpose has been about empowering our children who are deaf and hard of hearing to use the digital age that we're in as a tool to empower themselves. I started the organization with the belief system that more than any other previous generation, that this generation that's born into already such an advanced technological world has the ability to contribute, participate, and innovate in our world more than any other time. And, you know, our first principle of our organization is that the digital age is the great equalizer. And, you know, as Stephanie had mentioned earlier, is that the philosophy is not about depending on other people in the world to create solutions, but that, you know, is that the solution should be devised and led and created from within the community. And anybody from anywhere at any age has the power and ability to be an inventor and a creator. And so this is the backbone of everything that we evangelize, is to maximize the human potential among our kids. And so this is just a phenomenal opportunity.
Now, Veronica, do we have Veronica
Yeah,
online?
can you hear me? Can
We
you hear
sure
me okay?
can. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. What an honor to be here. Just to get to speak with all of you. Invention Convention is just another opportunity. It's a curricular program. It's a K through 12 curricular program that I have the pleasure of getting to work on. And we get to see kids like Avery all day long, who are basically empathetic in nature, and they are looking at problems in the world that, you know, affect their sphere of influence, and it's not good enough. They want to find solutions to those problems. And so I have the opportunity to work with a community of organizations at the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation. And we together have put together Invention Convention Worldwide. And Invention Convention Worldwide is just one option of how you can bring invention education into your classroom. So if you go to inventionconvention.org, you'll actually see that we host free curriculum, professional development. We've taken the steps of invention, we've designed it in a 7-step process. We know there's lots of different ways you can do that. Everything from identifying all the way through to prototyping and communicating out your invention. But one of the things that we do at Invention Convention Worldwide in the 20 different states that we're in and in the 10 different countries is we try to celebrate kids who are solving small problems, big problems, problems for everyone, and just making the world better. And so we do host a national competition every year. We host 20 state competitions throughout the country. And if you're interested in getting involved, it's another way that you can bring invention education to your classroom to foster exactly what Avery was talking about and my other colleagues on the call. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for letting me be here, Stephanie.
Okay, we're now going to go to any questions that might be present within our chat, and we'll start with those that are directly relevant to this Ideas for Ears competition and opportunity, or also the Invention Conventions, but also the Lemelson-MIT program has invention education programs that support elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. We have a national grants initiative at the high school level that a teacher and a team of students in grades 10 through 12 can apply and receive $10,000 to support their efforts. So we can actually answer questions for any grade level, but let's start with those that relate directly to this competition. Do we have any? So there is a question that asks, I would love to hear about any surprise or lesson learned from past experience on how to recruit a wide range of kids. I'm going to just give one example. One of the leaders that we've had was led an after-school program. It was actually a DIY program for young women. And that young leader actually went to a neighboring school, and the teacher, a math teacher, gave permission for a discussion with a group of girls at the school. Those that expressed interest had never done anything at all related to science, technology, engineering, math, coding, and yet they were willing to sign up. And they went on to develop a solar tent for homeless moms to charge the cell phones that the county provided to stay in touch with various services. And so I think what I like about the story is we're encouraging teachers to do this work, but the fact is anyone can work with a group of young people to teach them how to invent. And I think the number one lesson that comes from all the work we've done with educators across the US is that you really have to think about your role as being more of a facilitator and working with young people to reach out into the community and find people who can either inform understandings and co-design a solution, or people who have the technical knowledge and skills to help think through what that solution can be. In inventing, it takes lots of people with lots of different types of insights and experiences and knowledge, and no one person could ever have it all. We also have one that Shireen, I'd like to turn over to you. The question is, what are some of the ways that kids can gather data on the needs of the deaf to inform their inventions?
Well, I think one of the most fundamental cautionary tales is that, yes, data is plentiful on Google, right? But you always, always have to be intentional with your involvement within the community itself. So always make an effort to find individuals that have hearing loss and be connected with them for your feedback and for their suggestions and things, because the philosophy is don't build for, build with. And so it's really, really important because, you know, and it's not even about that, oh, it's, you know, out of bad intentions or anything, because obviously you don't know what you don't know until you are actually engaged with individuals that are personally impacted by the adversity of not having certain accessibility in today's world. So, you know, so data is plentiful. There are a lot of big forums, you know, the World Health Organization, and there's numerous legitimate sites that have really incredible data about, you know, the position of, you know, individuals with hearing loss in our world, as well as, you know, the frequency of diagnosis in more modern developed countries where we diagnose from birth on and things like that. But I strongly urge you that even without that data, it's important to be engaged and go out of your way to find individuals that are impacted with hearing loss.
Okay, the next question is, with regard to this competition, is the goal to invent something to help children hear better, or can it enhance their life in some other way? So I think the goal of Ideas for Ears is to have the students come up with some type of an invention that addresses hearing loss. It doesn't have to just be for a young person. It could be for others. But the theme here is hearing loss. Now, the Invention Convention, however, that many states have local competitions as well as national, and then the US competition that Veronica mentioned at the Henry Ford. Those can be broad, those can be anything. And so one of the reasons we have Veronica on is because I think just doing this low level lift of engaging with others, being able to imagine, first find and define a problem and imagine a solution and draw it and sketch it out. That's a beginning step. But then going forward from there, the students could use their imaginations and the same things they learn to go out and find any problem that they might care about and want to solve. And in our work, that allowing students to find that problem they personally are passionate about and care about is really part of the secret sauce of helping young people learn to do this work. Okay, let's see, what other questions, Lee? Yes, there was a question about what is the ideal size of teams for this competition, and in this particular age range in competition, the answer is 2, but there are many different opportunities, as we discussed earlier, and each one will have a different ideal size. And I'm going to mute myself for a minute. And Avery, some of these questions, I think you can also weigh in on based on your experience, because you've actually done it and you've seen other teams and what other kids have done. So you may have some perspectives you can add here.
Yes, for the team size, I personally did a single person team, but I also believe doing it with another person or multiple people is also a great opportunity. The focus is though, just making sure, you have fun creating these ideas for hearing loss.
Another question is, as we talk to parents about getting their kids involved in this competition, how can we talk to them about the learning experience they'll have and what skills will they be learning? So I'm going to, again, put Avery on the spot. As you reflect on what your experience was, what do you think you learned from it?
I learned many things from it. For my project, I learned more about the technology involved in it, as well as the biology in hearing, while also learning a bit of like teamwork when I needed to ask for help with specific things. Doing this activity and learning and creating the ideas really covers a broad spectrum of different learning ideas in general.
And Shireen, I'm going to ask you the same thing. I mean, you saw the value in this competition. What kinds of things do you think that young people can learn? What's your hope for them and what they would learn?
I would say without a shadow of a doubt that the number one thing they learn is agency, which is the freedom to explore, to be curious learners without being micromanaged, the ability to take a chance without, worry that how are they going to be graded? How are they going to be measured? The freedom to be creative problem solvers, which, in many of our institutions fail to really cultivate that talent and ability. I couldn't imagine a more ideal and lifelong lesson than, the freedom to invent, to say, okay, come up with something and take control of it. That is not being directed, that is not being led, that is not being, completely customized, that the agency and the self-determination is coming from within the child themselves. And then so many other layers of beautiful things emerge as a result of that. But that is, something that, is going to be the most magical part of that.
Veronica, I'm going to ask you if you'd like to answer that as well.
Well, gosh, I would echo exactly what Avery and Shireen said. Agency, I'm sitting here nodding. But I tell parents all the time that you're going to watch your student take their natural inquisitive nature, and they're going to learn through this process the ability to figure it out. And I mean, it's just the simplest way that I can say, where parents of every walk can kind of nod. We've all worked alongside someone that we had to task. We've all worked alongside someone where you can say, I can't figure it out. And who do you like to work with? Who do you like to collaborate with? And at the end of the day, we're taking our young people and we are just literally tapping into what they already naturally know how to do, which is how to care for others, how to be curious, how to be to use their imagination. And we're trying to hone in on that process so that they have the confidence to go out and figure things out. Yeah, I would echo what you both said, but that's what I tell families all the time. And you'll watch the confidence in your inventor store, and they take that in everything, in their communication, in their identification, in their empathy towards others. It's pretty incredible to see that kind of unfold right before you as a parent and an educator.
Great. And as we send around follow-up information from this webinar, we're going to be sending a piece from my colleague, Linda Kekelis, that talks about the importance of involving parents in these kinds of efforts. So the last thing I'd say, I guess, is that I did have a chance to have an exchange with Jeff Ball, and he was just really excited that it is now possible to have students be able to see that what some may perceive as a challenge really is a strength, and how cool it can be to connect with other students as well, and to work from that position of strength and create from it. And so I'm just really grateful that he can be a role model for all of us, to remember that we are all gifted in different ways, and we have to use our own personal strengths. There is one last question, which I feel like we do need to ask Avery. So Avery, the question that's come in for you is, can you comment on how you grew from this experience and how developed your idea was, and have you continued with it? One of our colleagues, George Kirkman, Rolling Robots in California, has a few students about your age that are interested in all of this.
I've definitely grown a lot from this experience. Going through it, I definitely learned a lot, but also it built my confidence in the invention process, which, as mentioned from Jeffrey Ball, there are many steps in inventing, many of which are failure. You know, you mess up, and then that's just one less way that it can go wrong, you know, and just continuing to move on and to keep on trying other ways is a great thing to learn. And I definitely did learn that from this experience. And how I continued with the inventing, because it built my confidence, I now wanted to invent more. And so I had ideas popping in my head all the time, and I would just, work them out, see what I could do, and just, I would have fun continuing to invent. And to motivate kids my age, I would say, not only does it help you learn, it helps you become smarter, and it's also very fun to invent, and it can also solve many problems, and it's definitely a very interesting way to have fun.
Thank you. That is part of what we tell everybody. Inventing is just plain fun, and so I'm so glad to hear you say it. And we didn't prompt you to say that, so thank you. All right, thank you, colleagues. Thank you for everyone who is on, and we will be sending the recording. And once the prize launches, we'll send additional information out. So, and thank you to MED-EL for all you've done to bring this opportunity to all of us.